Good morning. How is everyone doing? Hope you're having a relatively good day. Kind of going back to the work stories. And I was thinking of this one because I was talking with the boss I have now about stuff going on at work, and I don't want to get too in depth with that conversation because it's irrelevant to this. But at very end, she was saying how I just want to try to get along with the people that I work with, and I don't want people to feel like she basically doesn't want people to feel like that she's disrespecting them or she takes them for granted. She values the people that she has to look over and manage, and I respect that. So I was thinking, I was thinking about a boss I did have actually at my first job. Back in 2005, I worked at a little pizza company called Nurchie's Pizza. It was based out of, I think, Endicott, New York, and was very big there. And I remember, my father worked there, and I just turned 18, and he asked me if I wanted to get a job there. They were looking, and he said that if I was interested, he would talk to the manager, XYZ. I told him yes, so got a job there. So my father actually did not stay there much longer after I came on. I want to say he was there for about couldn't have been any longer than 6 months. And so shortly after, so once he was gone, I was jokingly told by a few people, it's like, now you're not under his protection, although, I never was. I told everyone there, I said, I'm independent of him. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me. I mean, just because, that was my father, it doesn't mean I should get special treatment. I mean, it's not like we own the company. But it was understood that, I wasn't asking for special treatment. So, after he leaves, we had a little change up in management. There was a huge blow up between the owner and the manager, and they were roommates, which made it even more interesting. There was a whole other story with that. Like, they had a huge drunken argument, and the manager basically packed up all the stuff and left, and it was so stupid. It was so stupid, and the manager, his name Micah. I mean, he was an okay guy, but he's also one of those people where uh, he tried to portray himself as like a massive gym rat, and a tough guy. But he was much more bigger than me right now. He was a pretty big guy, and I'm happy that he was he wanted to go to the gym and better his situation in life because he said he was worried about health problems, and I can respect that. But at the same time, this dude's walking around like Chris Farley and Tommy Boy in front of the hot girl, chest all puffed out, like, where's the weight room, bruh? This dude would walk around acting like he was such a tough guy. And, yeah, I wish I had more stories about Micah. As much as it's the fake tough guy he was, he really wasn't difficult. Although, his girlfriend who would come in from time to time, she was a little bit of a piece of work, the one who thinks way too highly of themselves. But I don't know, maybe another time. But so he left, and another guy came in to take his spot. His name was Adam. We called him Griffo for short because I believe that was his last name, or a variation of his last name. Griffo was a slob, a lazy person. He refused to wear the uniform, and the uniform was very simple. It was literally just a black shirt with the logo of the shop, which was like a flower handprint plus the name of the place. And anyone who works in a pizza shop knows that you're gonna get those flower handprints all over yourself, especially if you're working with pizza. So basically what I'm saying is it's a design in which you could pick out pretty easily. This dude did not want to wear it. Every single day he came in, he wore track pants, Um, oh, like a t-shirt, but he would always wear like a windbreaker jacket over it. And if he wasn't wearing his tennis shoes, he was wearing like Birkenstocks. So like he didn't really command a lot of respect from the people that he was supposed to be like managing. And on a couple occasions, even the owner had commented that, his appearance is left to be desired. He really should be wearing the team uniform. He said, no, I'm not going to wear it. I shouldn't have to. I mean, I'm manager. And basically, they got into it, and eventually the owner relented and just said, whatever. Do what you want. Just manage. Because the owner was trying to be less hands-on. And I can respect that. You have that kind of money invested in the company. You pay people to run it. So eventually, we realized that was Griffo in a nutshell. He was just a lazy person, and he had an attitude as well. He was the kind of person where I really feel like he had underdeveloped people skills, or he was just such a miserable prick in his social life, because he just didn't know how to talk to anyone. Like, on several occasions, like, he would come in, and like one of the first things he would say to like the counter girls that worked up front, these would be the ones who would take in orders, that would answer the phones, they would basically serve front of house on their own. And we usually had like one, if not two of them. And he would come in and he would make ridiculous comments to them, like, okay, we're going to work and not sit around looking pretty, staring at our phones. And I'm like, okay, like, they're working. Very rarely did we ever get like that's the common misconception that if you're a high school girl, then that automatically means you're not willing to work. That's very untrue. As a matter of fact, most job I have ever had or held, anytime there has ever been a female working there who was still in high school, they usually do just fine. It's usually the adult females that we have the problem with, because they're the ones that are all I'm just saying, those are the ones I normally have problems. Like, the ones that are normally in high school, I don't normally have problems with. It's usually the guys, the males who are still in high school that were employing, that are like 16, 17 years old. I've had issues with them. So basically, what I'm saying is, they did their job, they did it fine, they did it good, because I'd have calls from customers saying, hey, thanks, we like the food, by the way, the customer service was really good, so-and-so was awesome in helping us. But for some reason, he didn't like them, and he made really silly comments. I remember one time he had made a joke to the youngest one, who I believe was like a junior going into her senior year of high school, and basically had made a comment like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. Just make sure when you come in, you please wear clothes that aren't as revealing. And as she's walking out, she says to me, like, yeah, that sounds kind of creepy. Why does he feel like I'm being revealing? And I'm like, I don't know. Take it up with the owner. I'm not HR. But he was just weird. Just comments you wouldn't normally make to someone. And I started getting the feeling this dude just might be a creeper. He just acts really... He acted very negative toward women, so that just tells me he didn't have much of a dating life. Because I often find out that if you have a really low opinion of yourself, and you're not currently in the dating world, and you're a man, then you probably just bash on females because you have a lot of resentment, and you're holding other people accountable for that resentment. It is completely unjustified, unfounded, and disgusting, and get yourself in check. So with that being said, Griffo was a bit of a prick. And he did the same thing. He did the same thing to the guys. Like, he would just be a prick for no reason. He'd just be an ass to everyone. On occasion, he would snap at me, telling me, I need to do a better job. I'm doing this, and that. And I said, what do you mean? And he'd go, don't argue with me. I'm like, well, if I'm doing something wrong, you need to instruct me. Like, at one time, he said, you need to do the dough better. And I said, well, what am I doing wrong? His exact words were, don't mouth back, just do it better. And I'm like, when you say do it better, what do you mean? What am I doing wrong? And he goes, you know what you're doing. I'm like, clearly I don't know what I'm doing wrong if I'm like, it's just that kind of person. He's very argumentative. he was also someone who didn't want to work. He just wanted to sit in the office and play on his phone. Actually, he had a really annoying prank that spanned about 5-6 months, where like my phone would ring and I'd pick it up and I got like a beeping noise. And it took me a little while to realize that that comes from a fax machine. And when I finally found out what he was doing, was that rather than being in the kitchen and helping us, he would sit there and prank call people on this fax machine, including me. And what made it even weird was that he was doing that not only on days where I was not working, but he was also doing it on hours we were not operating. And when I finally found out what he was doing and confronted him about it, he starts laughing. He thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. And I said to the guy, dude, I was getting calls from this number at like 11, 12 at night. He goes, oh, I know, bro. I totally came in and did that. What I had to come in and... He said he had to grab his keys or something, which didn't make sense. Then how'd you get into the building? And I'm like, that's weird. Like, why would you do that? This dude was easily in his mid-30s. I was 18 years old. Like, why? It just felt weird. Why? Like, this dude was so socially awkward and inept. Like, I thought the one time we would actually hang out was, like, he introduced me to Tiger Woods on the PS2. And me, him, and Tommy would play a bunch. And I thought, okay, maybe this will be something that we can kind of bond over. No, it turns out he got so mad I beat him that he literally packed up and left. Like, I invited him over to my house. We played one round. He lost, but he only lost like by one. So I mean, it was a close game. I think we went into like sudden death, and I just won because he had a really tough putt. Literally stands up, grabs his key, slaps his Powerade bottle off the armrest of the couch across the room into the wall, and just leaves. Doesn't say a word, just leaves. And then when I asked him about it later on, he said, oh, I was just upset. You're just bullshit. I mean, you got lucky. I'm like, oh, all right. So you're also a crybaby and a sore sport or whatever. So the big end to this story. So there's a rule that in the food business, the food industry, if somebody usually brings in something, it's open to everyone. Every job I ever worked at, if someone brought in pizza or donuts or snacks or something, and they set it on a table for everyone to get to, the rule of thumb is it's for everyone and have at it. So I'm working and I come in and there is a box of Half Moon cookies sitting on the table, and clear as day in front of everyone, wide open. And I see someone eating one. And I'm like, where'd these come from? They're like, oh, one of the drivers said, I don't know. It might be from the owner or the manager. And I said, well, that was really nice of them. So I eat one. All of a sudden, Griffo comes in the back door, goes over to the box, and then not talking, but literally yelling. There are people who are out front eating, and he's screaming, who ate my Half Moon cookies? And I kind of like popped my head around the corner. I was like, yeah, man, I grabbed one. I thought they were for everyone. They were sitting literally on the prep table for everyone to see. And he goes, I bought those for me. They're mine. Why you have no? And he's just screaming. So I'm like, I felt bad. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take them from you. I said again, they were just sitting on the table for everyone to get to. I'm like, I apologize. And I reach into my pocket to grab my wallet, and I said, hey, how much were these? I'll reimburse you for a whole, baker's dozen. And he goes, no, unacceptable. And I go, okay, I'm sorry. I thought they were for everyone. I'm not the only one here who ate one. And I wasn't about to throw anyone under the bus, but I did say, I'm like, I walked in and there was at least one other person eating one, and there were like 3 or 4 gone, and I only had one. So I'm like, so at least 3 other people aside from me went at these things. And I said to him, I am sorry. Had we had known that, obviously we wouldn't have done that. And I said, I'm sorry. How much are they? I will literally give you the money to go and buy, replace them, and more, because I feel bad. No, that doesn't put the Half Moon cookie back in my box. That's ridiculous. That's uncalled for. And at that point, I just had enough, because at 18 years old, that was the first time I realized that you're not going to make everyone happy. So he makes that comment, and I just kind of throw my hands up and start walking away. And he goes, yeah, I'd feel bad too if I went and took something that didn't belong to me. So I turn around and I said, I turn around and I'm like, I offered to pay for them. You're sitting here crying about it. I have nothing else to say to you. I'm like, the hell with you and your cookies. If you're going to be a little crybaby bitch about it, turn around and walk away. Go in the manager's office. Go play on the fax machine like you normally do. But if you're going to sit there and act like this when I'm offering to buy you more because I feel bad about it, and you're just sitting here flapping your gums because you want to hear yourself talk, I have nothing else to say. I'm like, the hell with you and your cookies. Get out of my face. Then the dude literally gets in my face like he wants to fight me. And this guy was like a full foot taller than me. And I'm like, I'm not a tall guy. And this dude is like getting in my face. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, are you serious right now? I'm like, so he literally leaves this stuff out for in an area where everyone can see. In a place where other people have left stuff for the entire staff to like eat and snack on. And then he only yells at me because I was the only one who was willing to admit that I had actually gotten into them. I then apologized multiple times. I then offered to pay for them and more. I apologize again. He's still trying to argue with me. And now he's just yelling. And someone actually popped their head in from the front and told him, hey, you need to calm down. I have people out here with kids. And he's like, oh, F this. I don't care. There's people in here stealing. You need to have respect for people. And then that was when I started. I'm like, yeah, you have respect for people. Dude, that's why you're prank calling me on the fax machine at 12 o'clock at night on a freaking Thursday, and you think it's funny. That's why you're literally stormed out of my house throwing bottles because you're mad you lost at a video game. I'm like, that's why you're sitting here freaking out, having a temper tantrum because people got at your cookies thinking you bought them for everyone. And when everyone apologizes, I shouldn't say everyone, I'm like, when one person apologizes for it and tells you that they weren't even the one who even started eating them, and still offers to buy you more, and you're still arguing and yelling and carrying on, and now you're physically in my face like you want to fight, after I had to sit there and tell this dude, you're wrong, you're acting wrong. I'm like, I tried to offer a solution. All you're doing is amplifying it. All you're doing is just making it way more intense. And now you want to fight me because I basically had to be like, dude, I'm done with you. Your attitude sucks. You are a miserable manager. And I don't need this. And now he wants to fight. Now when he did that, a few people were like, hey, hold on, no, we're not doing that. And this dude is sitting in the office yelling at the wall. Literally yelling at the wall, mad because he couldn't have a piece. I don't know if he wanted to fight or if he was trying to make it sound like he wanted to fight. I did not want to fight this guy. I just wanted him to leave me alone. So the owner came in and he asked what was up, and he talked to him and he talked to me. And then as we're leaving, he had sent Griffo home early. And said, hey, we're not that busy. Why don't you go home? And then he goes, fine, I got stuff to do. And then, as the dude leaves, he, is bad dogging me on the way. I'm like, whatever, dude. Bye. And then, the owner comes to me at the end of the night and says, hey, just to let you know, I believe what you're saying, and I trust that it went down the way you went down. He goes, I'm sorry he acted like that. He goes, just next time ask. And I said, I can respect that. I said, I do feel bad. And I said, hey, and I reach into my wallet. I hand him $20. I said, I'm like, can you just take that and use it to buy the dude his freaking Half Moon cookies, however many that gets him? I said, that should easily pay for a dozen, if not more. I said, just give him that and just let him know, no hard feelings. I'm like, I don't want to come to work the next 2 weeks and have to live this every single day. Because he was also the kind of person where he would have little comments to people about things that were said and done, and he would just like constantly bring them up, and it really brought a toxic atmosphere. So he did that, and then like I didn't end up seeing Griffo for like the next 2 days. I saw him on Monday, and he comes in, and it looks like he just got off of a cruise liner. You know, he's got like the cop killer shades, you know, the white button up shirt, the white beach shorts, and sandals, and he comes in. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he just flat out ignores me. And then as he's in his office, I was like, hey man, I hope you enjoyed the Half Moon cookies that I gave Tommy, the owner, the money for. And he just kind of sat there with his arms on his side, and he didn't want to say anything. And I'm just like, okay, man. I'm like, okay, whenever you're ready to talk and act like an adult, let me know. And he just kind of sat there and sulked, and like, we started talking about something stupid later on in the day, which I guess was his way of finally getting over it. But yeah, over Half Moon cookies, no less. This dude was acting horribly. But I don't know. I mean, people watching this in the comment section, what would you have done in that situation? Was I so much in the wrong that I deserve to have this dude not only overreact as bad as he did, but then attempt to try and square up with someone who was not trying to fight? It's like, the argument can be made, had I said nothing and said my piece, that maybe it wouldn't have gotten to that. But like, I'm not sitting there telling this dude I'm gonna fight him, I'm gonna beat him up. I'm just saying, dude, I'm done with you. I'm done. I'm done trying to be nice. I'm done trying, to make things right. I'm like, everyone walks on eggshells around you because you're socially stupid. I'm sorry. It is what it is. There are just people you work with. They just don't read social cues really well. And regardless if that's an actual mental problem, which I know he did not suffer from, or one you do suffer from, I notice that it's usually the ones that it's just because a lack of poor judgment. They're the ones that just create a much more difficult work atmosphere than others. Anyway, I'm just glad the place shut down not too long after this, because he was a horrible manager. He got a little better after that, but not enough to where it really mattered. So yeah, that was one of the funnier in the sense that he was so wrong that he thought he was right until he realized that no one was coming to bat for him. I actually found out sometime later that after that incident, I guess Griffo had like a vacation, so he was gone for like 2-3 weeks. And in that 2-3 weeks, the owner was in almost every single day. And that entire time, I had found out through one of the delivery drivers that other people had gone and complained to the owner, not about just what happened and how they felt he was wrong in our situation, but like other things that he allegedly did too. Including he got a little handsy with one of the girls up front, and thankfully it wasn't anything too nuts, like just really weird stuff. Like he would constantly like put a hand on their shoulder, and and she kind of like let him know I wasn't interested by like just no, but like he kept doing it over and over, and then finally she goes, stop touching me, like just stop touching me, I don't want you touching me. So he had a lot of complaints, and he wasn't there too much longer after that. But that's that story. A combination of funny, combination of just slight anger inducing nonsense from people who just don't get it and who feel like they just need to keep poking the bear. And he obviously thought he can get away with it because I was like the second youngest person that was working there at the time. And he felt like he can get away with teasing the younger guys. He couldn't. He couldn't. The guy even younger than me, I mean, he was an actual gym rat. Like, he was a freaking specimen. I remember Brandon, I believe his name was. This dude was just jacked up beyond all belief. Like, he's the kind of guy where, like, the shirt would hug his arms right before his biceps. And this dude had some freaking pythons. And I joke with him all the time because he would go on if he went on a delivery and he always came back late. The joke was it was like he was like so where we would ask him where he was. He was like, I'm on delivery, and we're like, oh, okay. Was she hot? And he just starts laughing. He goes, what? I can't help it, man. I can't help it. No, he was cool though. He was cool, and Griffo didn't like him either because Griffo was very out of shape, very dirty, very sloppy, and Brandon was a gym rat who had a very nice car, and I had a lot of people, a lot of the counter girls were actually into him, and Griffo, I think that was another reason too. It was just like, he's like, what about me? How come no one wants me? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. You could start with a clothes change, and not wear the same hoodie and sweatpants or track pants every single day. So yeah, let me know if anyone's had a boss like that, just like so woefully unaware of their everyday presence or their actions they take, or just so like just socially inept to the situations they create. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I haven't seen him since. I have not seen the guy since. I think I bumped into everyone else I work with except for the owner since then, except him. And that's okay. I don't need that kind of drama in my life. So let me know what you thought. Let me know what you would do in that situation. Let me know what you would do. Would you have even offered to pay him back? Not. Or maybe you got a story you'd like to share. Let me know. If I can get enough of them, maybe we'll do like a little highlight video. Share some of your guys' pretty awesome work stories. So that'll do it until next time.